Welcome to Kaumudy Global. Today, the best tank in the composition of the Russian army is a T-90M Proryv. Already as an active participant in the war in Ukraine, the tank shows its advantages over the T-72. Faster and more maneuverable than the T-72, the T-90 features an advanced fire control system, active production system, and an effective armor. It's a little-known fact that Russia almost killed its T-90 production. Let's know how T-90 was born. It all started in the 1990s when Uralvagon Zavod, one of the largest scientific and industrial complexes in Russia and the largest main battle tank manufacturer in the world, invested all the experience of its engineers in the testing and military operation of the T-72. Then the engineering team was headed by Mr. Vladimir Potkin. He saw the future in the T-72 chassis, but not in the T-72 tank. Moscow decided to introduce the new Russian T-90 tank into service in 1992. The T-90 had reinforced combined armor in combination with built-in dynamic protection. The fire control system was 1A45T Irtish, and the aiming system was completely new, PNK4S. Unlike the T-72, Potkin decided to increase the range of the T-90 to 5,000 meters. He achieved this by integrating the 9K119 reflex weapon control system into the T-90. Uralvagon Zavod says that for the first time in the world, a tank received a complex optical electronic suppression system, which was the TSHU-1 system. Thus accepted into service the following year, 1993, T-90 entered into serial production. 2 years later, in 1995, the war in Chechnya began. Moscow sent T-90 to the front line. Tank turned out to be practically invulnerable to Chechen weapons. Despite its incredible success in Chechnya, Russia had no intention of investing more in this tank. To this day, the motives of the smart heads in the Kremlin has not become clear for this sharp retreat. Uralvagon Zavod was quietly dying without tank orders, neither from Russia nor from abroad. The T-90 was about to end as a project. When it seemed that Uralvagon Zavod was at the bottom of the horizon, India appeared. New Delhi has been closely monitoring the performance of the T-90 in Chechnya. According to Russian sources, the Indians had a strong respect for the intelligence of the Russian engineer. India needed a very good tank at that very time. Just by this time, Pakistan had already taken actions that startled Indians. Islamabad had just acquired 320 Ukrainian T-80UD tanks. New Delhi should have acted quickly and responsibly. The first thing they did was contact the Russians. The first tank they chose was the T-90, but they did not want the base version of the T-90, which was in service then. They wanted a new T-90 tank only for the needs of the Indian Army. They wanted Potkin to be the chief designer. Potkin had a condition, but he needed up to 24 months for the Indian design to be created, during which time 3 prototypes would be delivered to India for testing in the desert. The chief designer took a risk on the verge of gambling. It was unthinkable for Potkin to go to the Indians without a result. But Moscow's refusal to continue with purchases to the T-90 forced a large number of suppliers in the chain to stop production of the necessary materials. Thus, during the first 6 months, the coordination of supplies was the most difficult of the entire Indian project. After that, everything falls into place. Potkin's team did their best, and instead of 24 months, the tank was made in 12 months. On May 17, 1999, 3 T-90s tanks were sent to the Indian Thar Desert, where they passed the most difficult test with flying colors. Thus, the T-90 Bhishma was born. This is how the Russian tank industry is being revived. At the same time, India's Arjun tank is behind schedule. There were problems in the hydro gas suspension system. The T-90 weighed 45 tons, while Arjun, which was still being integrated, had already reached 75 tons. The T-90 had shown the Indians that it will not need an upgrade for at least a decade. Also, the time required to train the T-90 has been drastically reduced. The Russian T-90 at the time relied on a night sight with a range of up to 700 meters. The Indians wanted more, and Potkin gave them an improved night sight with a range of 1,100 meters in pitch darkness, fog, or sandstorms. Moreover, the gun and night sight was designed to be stable while the tank was moving. Potkin gave the Indians a tank that could submerge to a depth of 5 meters. The Indians acquired a tank whose armor was constructed of hardened steel with composite inserts in the front of the turret. An additional layer of explosive armor, ERA bricks, was further integrated. The T-90 Bhishma has become the flagship of the Indian Army. Moscow realized that the T-90 is a tank that has a future. So it decided to facilitate its production by giving a license to the Indian industry to manufacture it. Thus, the T-90 Bhishma was born. However, it is more correct to say this is how the new Russian tank industry was born. This is Anjana signing off. Do like and share this video. For further updates, subscribe to Kaumudy Global.